Every year there's a group of people who are excited to get NBA 2K to play with the updated rosters or help their favorite team win a championship. And then there's other people who don't love 2K but still get the game because they're massive basketball fans, and they hope that the game is better than last year. Either way, millions of people are buying the game, and since 2K25 just came out, we're going to look at 8 different things that are both bad and good about this year's game. And make sure to stay till the end because there's a list of players who actually opted not to be in the game, which surprised me a ton. One thing I noticed right away about this year's 2K is that there isn't a 99 overall player, and the highest rating is actually 97. Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo are all 97 overalls, which is the highest rating in the game, and I'm not surprised that no one has a 99. Throughout the game's history, there's only been a handful of players who have gotten 99s, and if I'm not mistaken, the list is under 10. But I have to say this because I think everyone is thinking it. The fact that there isn't a 99 overall player is lame. Every year, Madden sends out an awesome package to all of the players they give 99 overalls with some merch and a special trophy, which I find insanely cool. And it's not like Madden is just handing out 99 overalls, because in Madden 25, only 5 players earn the honor of being a 99. I think that's exactly how 2K should do it because if we're being honest, there's a couple players who absolutely deserve to be that 99 overall. Jokic has won 3 out of the last 4 MVP awards and for the past couple of years has basically averaged a triple-double. So why not make him a 99 overall? I also wouldn't mind Luka, Giannis, and someone like Joel Embiid getting a 99 because they are the best of the best and everyone knows it. Now I understand it's tough to hand out 99s to NBA players because at the end of the day there's so many factors that go into a player. For example, Jokic is not a 99 overall defender, and I understand that some people think this means he shouldn't be a 99 overall. But in my opinion, he's dominated basketball for a long time now, and since he's won at the highest level, he's proven that he is a 99. Let us know what you think in the comments about this, and if you think 2K should add some 99 overalls to the game. Let's stick with the idea of player ratings and talk about some that surprised me in a good way and some that surprised me in a bad way. Victor Wembanyama is a 91 overall, and I'm so happy that 2K gave him the respect he deserves because sometimes they don't. Younger players tend to get lower ratings, and I understand that with rookies, but if a player's good, I don't care how old they are. Wemby was the definition of an alien last year, dominating on both sides of the ball and putting together one of the most impressive rookie campaigns ever. So shout out to 2K for giving him respect. But a player that I think they severely underrated was Scottie Barnes at an 85 overall. He's one of the best defenders in the NBA, and an 85 just seems sort of disrespectful. In my opinion, he should definitely be an 88 to 89 overall with the potential to go over 90 throughout the next season. I don't have a huge problem with this next rating, but I do think this guy should be a bit higher, and that's Zach LaVine. In 2K25, he's rated as an 83, and that just seems a bit low for a guy who averages 20 and can do a lot of things on the offensive side of the ball. He missed more than half of last season, so I'm not too mad about this rating, but it definitely shocked me a little bit. One more thing I want to say is I'm glad they respected the cover athlete Jason Tatum with a 95, and honestly, I think they got most of the Celtics roster right. Jaylen Brown's a 92, and I'm glad 2K agrees that the best player on Boston is still Tatum. LeBron James and Stephen Curry are both 95s, and the fact that they're doing this at such an old age is one of a kind. But looking at these player ratings reminded me of how bad the Trailblazers are going to be because their highest rated player is DeAndre Ayton at an 83. And that gets us into our next point about the different team ratings in 2K25. I went on 2KRatings.com to find out what each team's collective rating is, and some of these shocked me, so I have to talk about it. First, let's talk about the highest rated teams in the game, and honestly, there isn't too many problems I have with it. The Celtics are an 85 overall, and they're the best rated team from 2KRatings.com, which I don't have a problem with. Sure, an 85 seems sorta low, but as long as they're number 1, I think it's fine. After them is the OKC Thunder as an 84 overall, and again, I don't have a problem with this. They finished first in the Western Conference last year, and they just picked up 2 great role players in Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein. After that, 4 teams are tied for the 3rd spot, and that's the Dallas Mavericks, Indiana Pacers, New York Knicks, and the Phoenix Suns. I like the Knicks and Mavericks being here, but honestly, I can't agree with the Suns and Pacers. Both teams are really solid with some nice top-end talent, but I think the Timberwolves and Nuggets should be above both of them. Still, these aren't the worst ratings in the world, so I'll give 2K an A- when it comes to top teams in the league. But now we gotta take a look at the worst rated teams in the NBA, and once again, 2K got it right. The lowest team is the Brooklyn Nets at a 78 overall, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but there's finally someone worse than the Pistons. Brooklyn lost Mikal Bridges this offseason, and while they do have a promising future with their draft picks, they're gonna be bad this season. After that, there's a bunch of teams with a 79 overall rating, and it includes the Bulls, Hornets, Pistons, Jazz, Raptors, and Wizards. Again, all of those teams are pretty bad, so I don't have much to say except good job 2K. If that was one of your teams, I'm sorry, and make sure to blame Ronnie 2K, not me. Another aspect to 2K25 is what they've done with the WNBA rosters and the new modes they've added for it in general. Now, I know I said earlier they didn't have any 99s in the game, but that wasn't completely true because A'ja Wilson is a 99 and it's well deserved. She's averaging 27 points and 12 rebounds a game this season, and she's probably the unanimous MVP, so she definitely deserves this overall. So does Jokic and those other guys I mentioned earlier, but let's move on from that. 2K also covered the WNBA Rookie of the Year race really well because Caitlin Clark is a 91 overall and Angel Reese is a 90. Being this highly rated as a rookie is insanely impressive, so shout out to those two. I've watched some clips of Caitlin Clark in this year's game, and with an A+ three-pointer, she really just doesn't miss. 2K also added a game mode called the W this year, which is basically just my player for the WNBA, and I think this game mode is going to be awesome. You can join any of the 12 teams the WNBA has to offer, and even though I haven't played it yet, it sounds like a good time. 2K added WNBA teams for the first time back in 2020, but every year since then, they've added new features and options, which is a really cool aspect of the game.
We talked about ratings earlier, but now let's look at specific player attributes, and what I mean by that is more in-depth ratings like dunking and ball handling. The two players with the best dunk rating are Anthony Edwards and Ja Morant with 97, and honestly, that's perfect. I can't think of two players who dunk better than them, and both are all-star caliber talents in the league. Zion Williamson has a 95 dunk rating, which I think is perfect, but I do have a slight problem with the entire list. Scoot Henderson has the same dunk rating as Aaron Gordon, Derrick Jones Jr., and Asar Thompson. Don't get me wrong, Scoot is athletic and a great dunker for his size, but I don't think he proved enough last year to be that high, so 2K missed on that one. I also think Donovan Mitchell should be higher than a 92, but with all things considered, I'm not too mad at that rating. Kyrie Irving has 99 ball handling, which is no surprise because he has the best handles in NBA history. And there's not much to report about the handles rating because I think they got it all right. Steph is a 97, Luka is a 95, and Booker is a 93. All I can say is good job 2K. Steph has a 99 three-pointer, which is a lot like the Kyrie's handles because no one is surprised, but the rest of the list kinda sits with me wrong. Klay Thompson only has an 89 three, and the haters will say this is fine, but we have to look at reality. Last year, Klay shot 39% from 3 on 9 attempts per game, which is elite whether you like him or you don't. In my opinion, he has the smoothest jump shot in the NBA, and putting him under a 90 is straight disrespectful. He has the same three-point rating as Mike Conley, and I know Conley's a good shooter, but come on man, Klay's better. They gave J-Dub Jalen Williams an 88, which I think is a little too high considering he only shoots 3.4 a game. He can knock down the long ball, and he showed it this past season, but I would personally bump him down to an 84-85. Because Buddy Hield also has an 88 three-pointer, and to say they have the same three-point shot is again disrespectful. Those are the main attribute categories I wanted to focus on, and the only bad one I would say is three-point shooting because they glazed the wrong guys and disrespected some phenomenal shooters. My career is probably the most popular game mode in 2K, and even though it's early, there are a bunch of new features that have made it fun for everyone. As always, you build your player by adding what attributes you want and what playstyle you want. But this year, they added some cool new player builds. For example, instead of starting from scratch, you could pick a specific NBA player's build and use that as a basis for your player. So if you want to build a guy like KD or a point guard like Trae Young, you could just pick their build and upgrade your player accordingly. They also have a street ball mode, which I've been playing a lot, and you face different characters who are all unique. For example, there's this guy named the Custodian who's literally just a janitor, and you have to play him in a 3v3 game. There's also a referee and a chef you get to face, and this game mode isn't the craziest thing ever, but it's definitely a good time and can help level up your player. This year, you pick whatever team you want to be on and immediately get to try and win them a championship. I do miss the times where you worked your way up from high school and then college, but it's refreshing to just hop into NBA games with my favorite team. I won't spend too much time on this next point, but as always, 2K25 also has other modes that people consistently use. My team is back, and they brought back the auction house, which is where you can buy players, and it should have always been that way. So I'm ecstatic about that. They have a bunch of new cards in the game, and each week new ones will be released. And then there's the GM mode, where YouTubers like King of the Fourth Quarter and SROS will spend their time rebuilding NBA teams. And they're going to add a bunch of what-if scenarios to the NBA that I love to watch. I don't know how much has changed with these modes in 2K25, but I look for them in every 2K regardless, so they had to be mentioned. In the beginning of the video, I mentioned that some players opted not to be in the game, and here's a list of those guys. Charles Barkley is once again not in the game, but this isn't really a surprise because he usually isn't. But it's still really annoying because I always want to see him at halftime with the TNT crew. Bill Russell is missing from the Play Now mode in 2K, and this just sucks because he's the most winning player in NBA history. Rest in peace to one of the basketball GOATs. Blake Griffin isn't in the game, and I know he's retired, but this is shocking because he's usually on the throwback Lob City Clippers squad. But I guess he isn't this year. That team was absolutely dominant in 2K because of their shooting and ability to throw lobs at CP3. Andre Iguodala isn't in the game, which sucks because everyone loves Iggy, and then there's also no John Wall, which is criminal because in his prime he was unstoppable. Rasheed Wallace and Serge Ibaka also don't make appearances, and this next one hurts for the same reason as Iguodala. And of course, that's Goran Dragic not being in 2K25. For as long as I could remember, Dragic was always playing and available in the game, so not being able to use him is a bit weird. And I know he wasn't the greatest player, but he was always a solid point guard, and he's just one of those veterans I love. There's a couple more players you can't use, but those were the main guys, and even though they're not all 2K favorites, it just shows how old these players are getting. All in all, this 2K is very similar to ones in the past, but there's always new controversy to talk about with ratings and new game modes. Let us know in the comments below what you think about 2K25, and as always, subscribe for more basketball content.